Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Roper Batker, President and CEO of Minnesota Women's Foundation.
Can you hear me? Hello? Woohoo! All right, it's time to get our program started, and I'm thrilled to be with you here this evening. I want to start by thanking General Mills and Bank of America for sharing the stage as our lead sponsors tonight. And I want to give a shout out to all the sponsors for making this event such a successful night. Thank you all so much. That's right. And I tell you, I have to recognize our sponsorship committee. If you were on our sponsorship committee, will you stand up? These women worked all year long to invite sponsors to be a part of our winning team, so thank you. I also want to recognize and thank the Women's Foundation Board of Trustees and staff. This is an incredible, dynamic, visionary, bold team that works together every day to champion equality for women and girls across Minnesota. Will you all stand up? And finally, I want to thank all of you. For 15 years, the Women's Foundation has benefited from this amazing evening of networking and celebration. So give yourselves a hand. Tonight, we're thrilled to have with us Cheryl Reeve as our keynote. Cheryl is the most winning coach in the WNBA and the head coach of our Minnesota Lynx. You've got a fan club. And Cheryl, I have to ask you, have the Twins or the Vikings called you for a few coaching tips? Not yet? Well, they better. You know, it really wasn't that long ago when women were not on the center court. This is where you'd find women on the sidelines. That's my mom in the middle. The year is 1952, and that year she won Breckenridge High School's coveted Sportsman of the Year trophy as head cheerleader. You know, at the time, cheerleading was one of the only ways that girls could participate in organized sports. It's pretty hard to believe today, isn't it? Okay, a show of hands, how many of you were cheerleaders? Okay. As I suspected, I'm amazed at how many strong women I know who were cheerleaders, including my mom, our vice president, and obviously many of you here tonight. Cheerleading can be a springboard to leadership, learning how to use your voice and power, right? Well, I'm proud to tell you that in 1984, my mom became only the second woman officer at Cargill Incorporated. So despite real progress that has been made, including Title IX, we know that women are still sidelined. We're sidelined from equal representation in government, we're sidelined from corporate leadership, and really in every sector. At the Women's Foundation, we shine a spotlight on these inequalities and we act. Each year we fund hundreds of innovative programs, we conduct groundbreaking research, and we advance public policy to make sure that no woman or girl is benched. There are many examples of strong women leaders who refuse to be sidelines. And don't you love this quote? By refusing to be sidelined in 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the first African-American woman elected to the United States Congress. And her leadership reminds us that you don't make progress by grumbling from the sidelines, you make progress by getting in the game. At the Women's Foundation, we're in the game to advance women's equality. We want to ensure that women have economic well-being, that our girls are not sex trafficked, that families are free from violence, and that women have an equal shot at leadership. And really, this work is only possible because each of you in this room are a part of our team that makes that happen. And it really reminds me of the brilliant teamwork that defines the Minnesota Lynx. How many of you are Lynx fans? Well, I'm a huge Lynx fan. I mean, what a team. 2 national championships in the last 4 years alone. And as I was watching that final championship game in 2013, how many of you were watching that game? I bet most of you. Well, I'll never forget this. After winning that game, I bet that was a thrill, Cheryl, a reporter asked Lynx forward Maya Moore, what makes the Minnesota Lynx such a winning team? And without missing a beat, Maya replied, because we have the most assists in the league. I mean, that really struck me. Essentially, Maya was saying, doesn't matter who makes the basket, it doesn't matter who gets credit, all that matters is the win. And to get that win, they play unselfishly, they play with generosity, and they assist. And then I thought, pretty good. That's exactly what we do at the Women's Foundation of Minnesota. We assist. And that's what you do as a donor to the Women's Foundation. But unlike basketball, we know that winning women's equality is not a spectator sport, right? In order to create equal opportunities for all women and girls, none of us can afford to sit on the sidelines. Okay, so this reminds me of a funny story about my daughter, Astia. There she is. She was a little younger there. She's in her first year of medical school now. But I took Astia to her first basketball game when she was about 3. It was the University of Minnesota Gophers women's basketball game. Woohoo! And we were sitting in the bleachers, and we were all enjoying the game. And about halftime, it came around, Astia jumps up, and she made a beeline for center court. And I'm running after her saying, Astia, Astia, where are you going? And she turned around and looked at me and declared, as a toddler does, I've watched long enough. Now it's my turn to play. Well, I hope you're all ready to play, because just as Maya reported, it takes a strong team eager to assist, it takes a shared vision and game-winning strategies, and it takes a generosity of resources. And I'll promise you this, when you join our team and make the Women's Foundation of Minnesota your foundation, you can expect to win. Together, we will win a future of equal opportunities and prosperity for all Minnesota women and their families. Now that's something we can all cheer about, right? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gail Pauly Nordhaus, Senior
Women's
Vice
Foundation of
President
Minnesota
at
is a
Wells Fargo
community
Insurance Services, and the co-chair of the Corporate Sponsorship Committee for the Women's Foundation of Minnesota.
Thank you. Thanks. Hello, everybody. That video and that story, are you inspired? I sure am. My name is Gail Pauly Nordhaus, and I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of this exceptional organization, the Women's Foundation of Minnesota. As Lee said earlier, and what we all just learned from the video, the approach and work of the Women's Foundation is strategic, impactful, and effective. And all of it results in extraordinary outcomes for Minnesota women, families, and communities. I invite each of you to be a part of this winning team by making the Women's Foundation of Minnesota your foundation. Are you ready to join me on center court? Fantastic. As a donor volunteer and soon to be new board member of the Women's Foundation, here's why I am a proud member of this winning team. Like many of you in this room, I work in finance. So as finance and business professionals, we are always looking for return on investment, ROI. Well, let me tell you, the Women's Foundation of Minnesota knows how to get things done. And this means that your investment in the foundation provides the highest level of ROI for our community. A great example is last year's passage of the Women's Economic Security Act. The foundation's leadership played a huge role in the act becoming state law. Did you know that the entire act was based on economics research on Minnesota women that the foundation produced? Well, I'm thrilled to tell you that it was. This new law made Minnesota a model for how to lead on equality, and it said to other states that we in Minnesota value the economic security of Minnesota women and families. Because I have a donor-advised fund held at the Women's Foundation, I was able to play a role in this victory and be a part of making history for everybody in this state. Through my fund, I added to the foundation's effort to pass the act and help to propel the legislative process forward for the win. I am so grateful to be part of this dynamic group. Every dollar we raise tonight supports groundbreaking change like this. Building a strong team takes leadership, and we have those leaders with us this evening. Together, they've teamed up to match what we raise, together, dollar for dollar, up to $53,000. And we can have their names. Here they are. Will these extraordinary leaders please stand and keep standing for a moment? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful people, generous people, all of you guys. We have a shared goal tonight to not only meet this $53,000 matching gift, but to exceed it. Are you ready? All right. At your table, locate the, there it is, silver shimmery bag like this one. If you have a table captain, your table captain probably already has it, but if you don't have a table captain, please elect one right now. Everyone getting a table captain? Wow, we're having some fun already. Okay. Okay, does everyone have a table captain? Okay, table captains, you are responsible for the bag and its contents. I see we're getting ahead of ourselves, that's okay. Reach inside your bag, pull out the pens and envelopes, and hand a pen and an envelope to each person at your table. How's that going? All right. Okay, so it looks like this is all going great. So, whether it's $5,000, $500, or $50, I invite every champion here to go for the assist, make a gift, and join our winning team. Once you've filled out your envelopes and made your gift, please hand the envelope back to your table captain. Okay. Thank you so much. Now grab your pom-pom, blow a whistle, and toss that basketball to show your team spirit.
Let's get ready to rumble! Get ready to rumble!
Pump up the jam, yo, pump it up, yo, pump it.
Y'all ready for this?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Cloth, State President of Bank of America, a lead sponsor of the Stir.
Good evening. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. It's a tremendous opportunity for us at Bank of America to dig deep and help as well. And Lee, thank you for what you and the organization do. It's just outstanding, and much of it isn't recognized, as you and I were talking a minute ago, until you remind everybody here all that you do, and much of the recognition sometimes doesn't get there. So thank you very much for all that you and your group does. Thank you so much. So at Bank of America, we too are proud of the leadership role we play. We believe in equality of pay and equality of leadership. It's something we work at every day to get better and better at. That kind of a commitment that you all just made is why we're so proud to be one of the lead sponsors for tonight. I couldn't imagine a better place to be with a better group of people than you all tonight. So thank you all for what you do, and thank you for the donation you just gave to the organization. Thank you. So tonight it's my honor to introduce Coach Reeve. So Coach, I won't go through and read the biography. It's in the program. And you should all be very proud of our speaker tonight. But there are three things that are not in her bio that I'd just like to mention about our head coach. One, she was a Rhodes Scholar nominee. Number two, at 9 years old, she was a starting shortstop for a boys' baseball team. And I'm not sure for you, but I'm pretty sure the third one's pretty important moment. And that was, she fielded a congratulatory phone call from the President of the United States, President Obama, after the Lynx won their NBA championship in 2011. Come on up, Coach.
Holy cow, you guys know how to party. Wow. Somebody said get 700 women in a room with a couple of glasses of wine, and this is what you get. So this is fun. Being able to be here at functions like these is absolutely exhilarating for me. I get to coach during the summer, and, it gets pretty serious for us. In the off season, I get to do things like this. And for so many of you to have a chance to connect with me and share your love for our team just means so much. I'm blessed every day to have the opportunity to coach professional women's basketball, and I never take that for granted. But before I get too far into this, I got a couple things. One, let's say thank you to Chef Donna for the amazing meal she prepared. She spent the entire day I can't see shit, so I don't know if she's here or not. But I hope they let her out. But I wouldn't have thanked Donna for the great meal unless she told me what she told me, which was she was a tremendous Lynx fan. So I knew that meal was going to be special. These events never cease to amaze me as far as things I get to experience. You think you've seen it all. Tonight was a first for me. I got to meet Joey the pony. Just awesome. I leaned down, took my picture, and I said, Joey, is that you or me that smells so good? So, I don't know where Joey went. I heard he was causing a stir. Not everything works. So. The culture of success of the Minnesota Lynx, where the Lynx have won more games in a 4-year period than any other WNBA team in league history. Was meticulously established when our staff arrived here 5 years ago. We started with executing the plan of acquiring personnel that shared the values that we deemed imperative for success. We then established expectations for the team. We raised the bar. When I first got here, it was really more about the goal being to make the playoffs. And I remember interviewing with Glenn and with Roger Griffith, our general manager, and saying, that's not the goal. The goal's not to make the playoffs. The expectation is the playoffs. The goal is the championship. And as soon as we raise the bar, you get more, you expect more. And I thought it was a pivotal moment for our team. We committed to the notions of accountability and ownership, whether it was in a drill at practice, executing a play during a game, or our code of conduct off the court. We have players willing to hold themselves and each other accountable daily. Finally, the trait that our fans find the most admirable is the selfless nature that Lee referenced earlier. Maya Moore, one of the most decorated players in basketball history, men or women, expressed very genuinely what our team believes is the formula for success. What Maya was describing in those moments following the Game 3 that crowned us the WNBA champions for a second time in 3 seasons is the single biggest ask that we make of our players every day, and that is to think of others first. Sacrifice, go ahead. I like her style. You've just been killing me. Big Lynx fan. I like her style. She hit me in the back of the head with them balls that was flying around. Sacrifice one's own interest for the greater good of the team. Be aware. Be a great teammate. Turn down a good shot for a great shot. Above all, it's about the team. In my view, the work of the Women's Foundation of Minnesota mirrors the work of the Minnesota Lynx. As I outlined, step one in building our championship team involved acquiring personnel that shared our core values. The Women's Foundation of Minnesota works tirelessly to align itself with sponsors, donors, and grantees that share its championship vision to ensure gender equality and justice for all women and girls in the state of Minnesota. In order to compete for and ultimately win the championship, to achieve gender equality, each of these entities and all of us in this room must be accountable to ourselves and to each other, and we must take ownership of the mission to grow equality for women and girls. To best advance societal attitudes and behaviors towards growth and gender equality, we have to be aware of our thoughts, our speech, and our actions in our daily life. It's not enough for this to be an ideal. We must walk the walk. Or, as Lee said, get in the game. I found that many women and men aren't sure how to get in the game. You know, in my travels and talking with fans, I have a chance to get a pulse on things, and I get stories. And one of my, I kind of go through different ways to get in the game. I had the opportunity to speak at the Athena Awards many years ago. I do it each year for them. Great organization, right? It's been around. They had some, real visionaries 30 years ago when they established, or maybe even longer, 40 years ago. Great organization, great representatives on the board, and here I am, I'm up there and with these dignitaries, and I'm excited. And I have this great story, and it's, Coach, absolutely wonderful to meet you. Your team is amazing. All that you stand for, tremendously talented, selfless, et cetera, et cetera. And I get all excited. And I always want to know where our fans sit, because I like to, when I walk into the arena, have a chance to say hello any chance that I get, because I appreciate the support. And so I say, I really appreciate your support. Where do you sit? I'd like to come say hello. And this woman says, oh, I don't have season tickets. My husband has tickets to the Timberwolves, to the Twins. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't change. Didn't see anything wrong with it. And of course, I was very cordial and said, well, I would love to have an opportunity to see you at a Lynx game, and hopefully your husband will allow you to do that. So we gently had a discussion about, I'm not sure if she became a season ticket holder or not. Another example I have was at a Timberwolves game a couple years back, and there was a gentleman with his daughter. His daughter was, adorned in a Timberwolves player jersey, and 8 years old, all excited. He runs up, he says, "Coach, it's so great to meet you. This is awesome. Here's my daughter, so-and-so. She's a huge Lynx fan." What do you think I said? "Where do you sit? I would love to come say hi to little Amanda." "Oh, we don't go to the Lynx games." Don't go to the, so obviously for that gentleman, one of the best things that happens to men is they have daughters, right? We know that. This guy was still learning, about those sorts of things. Other ways to get in the game, holding people accountable. Our staff. We have a very big initiative. It's called Read to Achieve. And we bring books, obviously, to the students. And our players, like Maya Moore, will walk into this classroom and have a chance to read to these kids. They're so excited to meet her. I think it's really important that the books that we bring are not about Michael Jordan. I think it's really important that these books are, Lindsay Whalen has a book. Let's bring Lindsay Whalen's book. There is a new collection of books by a local author, female author, called Shelley Bean, the Sports Queen. Those books will be under our arms as we walk into these classrooms, and that's what both girls and boys at that age need to know, to recognize. Start then. So that's an awareness. In the world of women's sports, one of the things that we do a lot of, and part of it is because of the infancy of our league, we do a lot of comparisons of our players to men's players, NBA players. And so I caution in our speech, and I try to catch myself to make sure that I don't do these things, that we say that the next player, the next great player, is the next Maya Moore, is the next Lindsay Whalen, not the next Michael Jordan, the next LeBron James. So be aware. One of my greatest pet peeves, and it's really, really simple. Let's be sure that we call professional female athletes women. They're not girls. They're women. Poor Jim Peterson, guy on my staff, 6'10" dude, played for the Gophers and went on to have an NBA career. Came into my office one of our first meetings, and he's got these great ideas, and I think the girls ought to, Jim, we're not going there. Well, what do you mean? They call each other girls. Right. That's okay. You're not calling them girls. I'm not calling them girls. They're women. And if you have a hard time, makes me want to jump into like drills and stuff when I hear that whistle. Layup lines. I don't even know what the heck was I talking about. Where was I? Jim Pete, yes. So we talked to him about they are women, or if you struggle with that, they're players. They're not girls. So, and one of the things I often hear is, I've never thought of it like that. And now that you put it that way, I'll be more aware. And what I want to say is that we must think of it that way if we want to enact change. We must walk the walk, because if we don't, then others won't. To win the gender equality championship, a key component is women supporting women. All of us in this room tonight are on the same team. I urge you to seek out another women-owned business and find out how you can support it. Like Maya and Lindsay and Simone do, think of your teammates first. Do you invest in businesses that invest in us? Recently, I was enjoying some quality time with my mom in New Jersey. We happened to have the television on and a commercial aired that caught my attention. I commented to my mom that I thought that it was a great commercial and that I wanted to support that business and cited the reasons why. I said, I saw a woman of color, I saw a woman in a strong, confident role, etc. I think that's great. Her reply to me was that she didn't notice any of that and that I was overthinking it, that it was just a commercial. So I responded that actually it's important that we do notice those sorts of things because it means we're making progress towards inclusion and eliminating gender bias. So she said, boy, you're one of those people who focus on that kind of stuff. You're like I said, like an activist? And she said, yeah, an activist. So I smiled ear to ear and proudly replied, yes, I am. As everyone in this room knows, women are underrepresented in corporate leadership. Women make up half the workforce, yet less than 1/5 of its executives. To the women executives in the room, I ask, do you actively mentor? Have you promoted hiring diversity within your company? Have you created or participated in women's leadership councils? Do you speak up and out against behavior that marginalizes women or other diverse groups? Or do you stay silent? Get in the game. Tonight isn't entirely about women. I've noticed quite a few men out there. Larry drew the short straw. He was here at my table. And this was fun for me because this is usually in my role, but Lee, man, fist pump. Lee says to Larry, you ought to have Link season tickets. Now, Larry's new to town. I will say that. Larry hasn't been here. Larry's been here a year. He has missed one season. And Lee says, you ought to have season tickets. And Larry says, yes, it sounds like a great thing. I have Twins tickets. I only get to go to half the games. The other half I give away. And so Lee says very gently, well, you know, because he said it's in the summertime, busy, because I'm going to the Twins games. Lee very gently says, you know, you could buy the tickets to support the Lynx and give them away to people. Well done, Lee. Well done. Men, you're either out there because you're scared shitless about what the hell is going on with all these women in this room, and you're doing some reconnaissance, or because you're enlightened and consider yourself part of the solution to advancing gender equality. I'll assume the latter. I have to tell you, so today was one of the, it's been a great day. You know, obviously I woke up really excited to be here tonight with you all. But I also had a chance to wake up to some absolutely amazing news for the WNBA and the NBA. I don't know if any of you saw this news, and obviously you're all very, very familiar with Sheryl Sandberg and the Lean In organization. Our league, both NBA and WNBA, just signed a partnership with leanin.org. And it will become a very, very strong initiative. What a very natural platform for both organizations. So it's just, for me, you know, just kind of the amazing connection. And what this is about for men is that we need you as advocates, as sponsors, if you will, of women. Going back to advocates like Senator Birch Bayh, who was the father of Title IX, right? Crafted the original legislation. He was also the principal architect of the Equal Rights Amendment. We need more of Senator Birch Bayh's. David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA, who founded the WNBA, despite the objections of many men in the face of, you know, those sorts of challenges. Adam Silver, who is now the NBA commissioner. There was, you know, a little bit of, when there was that transition, everybody's kind of going, what does this mean for the WNBA? Well, it turns out Adam Silver is an amazing advocate for the WNBA, because I can guarantee you he was at the forefront of this leanin.org. He didn't hand it off to somebody else. He found it important and said, we're going to do this. Additionally, Adam Silver, when he proposed their package for the NBA to ESPN, Adam Silver stood tall, and he's about 6'10", stood tall and said that if you want us, you will take all of us. And that includes the WNBA. This is who we are, and we're proud of this. And, I'm just so thankful that we're able to have, men that have, I call it courage, because I think a little bit of it is for men, it's you're afraid of what your buddies think of you. And, I've seen that firsthand. I had a gentleman that worked around the Target Center and wanted to be a practice guy, was an amazing fan, loved being around our team. Had a connection with him. We gave him some gear, Minnesota Lynx, WNBA, and we even sent some stuff over. He was doing some work in Africa. We really supported all his causes. Until one day, it was like early in the week, he had just gotten back from a weekend. He went to Chicago, where home was. And he comes back and he was telling me about his weekend. And I must have asked him how he enjoyed the gear, and I said, I hope you went home and wore it and, pumped up the Lynx. And he said, oh, God, no, Coach. I was with my boys. I'm not wearing the Minnesota Lynx with my boys. Well, that was the last shirt he got, as you know. That was... Times are changing, because, at the same time, I can go now post-game and go to Hubert's and belly up after, a fun time at the Target Center, grab a burger and an iced tea, and you've been to Hubert's, I know, so you've seen. But now I go to Hubert's, and I'll have a guy that's sporting his Simone Augustus jersey. And he's like, Coach, man, Simone, that's the real deal. You guys are awesome. I love watching you guys. I'm telling my buddies, you guys, you don't understand what you're missing. You got to get here. So for every story, that the dude that doesn't wear the shirt, we've got an advocate, for somebody that's helping to grow our game. Great new, go ahead. One of the great things that happened in our sport in the last year was NBA champion coach Greg Popovich hired the first female full-time assistant coach, Becky Hammon. He's one of those guys that, he doesn't really care what anybody else thinks. And he hired Becky Hammon because he saw a young, talented coach that would benefit his team. This was not a gimmick. And what you get from that is other doors open. Now the buddies where Greg goes, I don't care what you think. Now all of a sudden it's cool. And the next guy. Matter of fact, George Karl just got hired by the Sacramento Kings. One of the candidates for his assistant coaching position is Nancy Lieberman Klein. So doors are going to open. They're going to swing wide open. It's a fact that countries with higher levels of gender equality have higher economic growth. Companies with more women on their boards have higher returns to shareholders. Parliaments with more women consider a broader range of issues and adopt more legislation on health, education, anti-discrimination, and child support. It's a fact that women hold less than 20% of government and corporate leadership positions. It's a fact that women will not achieve a critical mass in leadership in every aspect of our society until men are prepared to sponsor and advocate for women. We need you. Men in leadership hold a key to unlocking the door that has stood as a barrier to women who aspire to these same leadership positions. How can you get in the game? The most impactful way is to sponsor and advocate for women in your company. In an article that I recently read in the Twin Cities Business, 10 of Minnesota's top corporate women were asked, what mentor helped you rise to a key leadership role? 80% responded with a male mentor. Additionally, it's important that men in leadership positions pay attention to and work to eliminate language surrounding the labels of a strong, confident woman being Bossy? You thought I was going to say something else. Or difficult? While a strong, confident man is labeled a leader. The bottom line is, men, you're an important part of this team. Men who want to help need to be a part of the dialogue. One of the things we talk about with our team when we get to the playoffs and are competing for the championship is that ordinary is no longer good enough. To win the championship, it requires extraordinary efforts by all. Here tonight, I'd like to challenge all of us, men and women, to do better, to give extraordinary effort. Don't make excuses for why we can't get it done. Focus on all the reasons why we must make it happen. Let us all unite for the very meaningful mission of our girls and boys seeing a society where women are valued just as much as men. Thank you so much for having me. This has been an amazing, amazing function. Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to do a few minutes of question and answer. This is always my favorite part because I get some doozies. Anything you want to talk about? Quick questions that you want answers to? Like I said, I can't see anything. Yes, I should have known, yes. The question was, when will men earn a quarter of the salary that men earn? And the fact of our matter is, obviously, it's a business. We are not protected by Title IX. So we're a business. And our business model is such right now that I think that we're on really, really solid ground with our league. I think we've got our expenses figured out. We're really on a great path with revenues. We've got a tremendous TV deal. And so I think we have to look at it more like this. The NBA was started back when Larry was a kid. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. The NBA's been around for a while. Our league has been in existence for 18 years. And so we're really in the infancy stages. And I found something really striking. I think that at some point this year, I'm one of those nerdy people that reads through things that have happened in history. Ted Williams. Everybody knows who Ted Williams is, right? I think they froze him. Is he still around? I think they froze him or something. Ted Williams, on that day in history, signed a contract for $100,000. And so for me, it puts things in perspective in that it is an evolution. And I sure would like to make half of what Flip Saunders makes as a coach. But the fact remains that we're a ways away from that. What can we do, though, to continue to advance it? And, that's, obviously one of the things that you all can do, that you are great fans. You put your money where your mouth is. You come to the games. That's the single best way to show Glenn Taylor, your appreciation for his supporting one of only 12 WNBA teams in our country. Additionally, Bank of America is digging deep here tonight. Probably the single biggest way to grow a league and to increase salaries is to increase sponsorship. And that is lacking in our league. And, geez, Larry, if you go back and you think that it could work, I've got some people I can give you a phone number to that, but we need more of that. And so will we ever make exactly, hey, in the 80s, Bill Lambier, who I worked for, they didn't make what they're making now. They flew commercially the way that we fly commercially. It wasn't always this way. I think, honestly, it's kind of a little bit like Wall Street. It's a little bit out of hand. And there needs to be a correction, but maybe over time.
We have a question over here. Coach Reeve, to your point.
It's like the voice of God. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
Over here. Coach Reeve, to that point, when you have players like Diana Taurasi that are taking a year off to be able to play with their European or foreign team, Are you concerned that that may be a trend because the women players are not paid commensurate with the male players and they can make more playing in other countries?
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to keep this secret much longer, but I funded the $1 million that kept Taurasi out of the, no. No, it's obviously a question I've fielded quite a bit since her decision. So those of you that don't know, Diana Taurasi is the villain of our league. Every league needs a villain, and Diana does it very well. Diana's a tremendous basketball player who, and again, those of you that don't know, our players, when they leave Minneapolis after playing for the Minnesota Lynx, they then go to play over in Europe, in Asia, Australia, and they make quite a bit of money doing so. And Diana happens to play for a team in Russia that is really, really well funded. Now, the guys that own these teams are billionaires over there. They draw okay, but I can tell you their profit and loss statement, it doesn't work. It's money out of his pocket for sure, but it's like a hobby to them. And so every once in a while they buy a player and they go, we'll pay you $1.5 million to only play for us and for you to skip. And so there's a couple directions. The first things first, it is an amazing opportunity for a professional female athlete to go make $1.5 million. And that's obviously a very positive thing. I think by and large, our players, especially I'm so proud of the group that we have, value playing here in the United States and growing our game. And it's a great responsibility. And so our players are trying to balance going to make a living, earn great money overseas, come back here. We pay them well. Diana is not playing because she's mad that the men make more. Diana made a personal choice. And it's a choice that I'm really proud that our players wouldn't make because they understand that playing in front of their families, there was a day we didn't have a league. There was a day, many of you, if you think about it, were denied opportunities to even play in high school. And we now have the WNBA. Maya Moore was 8 years old when she turned on the television set and watched Cynthia Cooper play for the Houston Comets, and she said, I want to be like her. That's my dream. And so Maya holds that near and dear, and Maya will always put the WNBA first. And so I don't think it's a trend, and we'll welcome Diana back with open arms after we win the championship.
We have another question for you over here, Coach.
My
Shara.
question for you over here.
Oh, no, thank you.
Hi there. I'm curious as to who your mentors are.
Great question. I was just sharing with Larry. I've had the good fortune of having both female and male mentors. My high school coach was a female, was absolutely tremendous for me. Our personalities were similar. She was a driver. She's the one that pointed me in the right direction with regard to pursuing a college scholarship for basketball. She's the reason why I got a Division I scholarship and was able to play close to home. Still stay in touch with her to this day. I had college coaches that were tremendous. I don't want to say despite them being men, but they were, they helped kind of shaped me, the values. Speedy Morris and John Miller. And then one of my mentors is actually Bill Laimbeer, who I coached with in Detroit. He was one of the bad boys of the NBA back in his days with the Pistons, and I was just sharing with Larry that he drove me crazy. He was infuriating, but he pushed me. We had some very thought-provoking conversations, and he motivated me more than anything to prove him wrong, because he didn't quite. I always tell there's like two stories with Bill. When Bill got the job, he had 0 WNBA experience, because it's not necessary for a man. They don't have to have any experience. Women, we got to be doubly as good. And so Bill came into our league having 0 WNBA experience. He kind of watched from the sidelines a little bit. He was hanging out in Detroit. His daughter was playing AU basketball. Walk up to Bill the first day, because the coach got fired. He came in. Walk up to Bill. Bill, welcome to the league. Well, and I said, welcome to the women's game. Huh. I've been in the game. I've coached my daughter's AAU team, and I'm qualified to be the coach. So that was the first thing with Bill. The second one with Bill, I actually went to work for the guy. I couldn't believe this. I was telling Larry, it was just such an inner turmoil thing. How do I go work for this guy? And then he said to me, and again, he was challenging me. He knew I had a goal of being a head coach in this league, and he said to me, why would they hire you? You don't have the presence that a man does. You don't have, you're not, 6'8", 6'10" like us, and why would they hire you? And I told Larry, luckily for me, I had thick skin, and I believed in myself. And when I got to Minnesota, and we won one of these, I called Bill, and I said, do you think I have a presence? How's that working out? So Bill was a mentor.
Oh, Cheryl, I think many of us share your inner turmoil. Over here, we have a question. Sally?
Would you comment on the firing of the UMD hockey coach and her staff?
I heard something about firing, and
Okay.
I got fired?
No.
Oh, good. Because Pam Borton's here, I was a little nervous that Pam's, I don't know. Hey, say hello to Pam Borton, who's got a great foundation, Team Women. Pam's been a great supporter of our team, and I appreciate all the help that you've given us and your support. Yes?
The question is, would you comment on the recent firing of the UMD hockey coach and her staff because of her salary?
I only read the articles. I really don't know a lot about it. I can only say that it seems peculiar to me as compared to the success of some of the men's programs. So I think they've got a fight on their hands, and I hope that, I probably should just not comment any further than that. I hope it turns out well for the staff.
And then we have
One more question.
Hi, my name's Adrienne Jordan, and I just love talking to women leaders like you because I think you have so much for us to learn. And so I wonder what one lesson you would teach to your younger self, or what is the one critical lesson you would teach to your mentees?
Yeah, I think probably more than anything that I see with women in particular, is this notion of not giving ourselves enough credit and not attacking things with confidence and saying, I want this. So when you see a job opening, women, what do? We think we're not good enough, and we worry, what if? And like I said, the guy sitting next to you who has nowhere near the talent and experience as you does what? Zoom. Right? And so I would say, if you want something, be confident, be bold, and go after it. And I think that's really important. So, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Well, now we know why we have 2 championships in 4 years. I love the goal, the vision, and I love your humor. And the staff are going to have a beer later if you want to join us. So I really want to thank you. We've got some flowers for you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for elevating this important role of women in sports and inviting men to be a part of the solution, because they are. Thank you. I also want to thank General Mills and Bank of America. Larry, will you sponsor again next year? Can we just get that commitment ironed out right now? Cheryl won't be here. And I want to thank all of our corporate sponsors for making tonight's event such a success. And before you go, and I thank you, I want to bring Erin Seiner up to stage. Erin, where is she? Erin has been the lead on this event for the past 15 years, and she does a phenomenal job. And we've got flowers for you. And thank you. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you for being a part of our team. Thank you for making the Women's Foundation your foundation. We'll see you at the Lynx Games, and we'll see you next year.
to the big